Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
I don't know.
You know, probably, I don't know. You're talking off the air. I don't know. Just turn the microphone on. We'll see what we're talking about. If I did that sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, if you ever really don't like
button.
me anymore and you want to get me fired,
nah, would it even be that?
unfortunately, you'd probably take
have
yourself
to
down with you.
fill in your void here at the station, and I don't know if anybody would really ever want
Hey, I
to
learned a
try to do that.
long time ago. Everyone's replaceable.
We're all expendable.
We are. We are expendable.
If they made a movie about you and I, they call it The Expendables. Yeah, we couldn't even
We're
do
not
that.
even has-been action
Come on.
heroes.
Give me that at least. It's Fantasy Island. We're on Fantasy Island.
Well, there we go. Okay. Oh.
Welcome, Barry and
But just like every one of those episodes, it's not going to go the way we want it.
No, it's going to turn out horribly wrong. It's like Marvel's What If show that's coming out. Oh, did I mention a new Marvel show coming out on Disney Plus? What If? Oh, my goodness. All the stuff. And good morning. It's BK on the air, by the way. If you're wondering who you're listening to, welcome to the show, and I thank you for being out there listening. I figured when Disney came out with the plethora, the cornucopia of all the things that are coming out and on the horizon with Star Wars and Marvel, I thought I can talk about this on the show Saturday, but there's no way I'm going to be able to hit on every last thing they're doing, just maybe the highlights, because check it out online. If you haven't looked, and just search for new Disney Plus shows coming out later, or whatever your search engine, just look for it, because it came out and it's everywhere. And you and I are happy campers because of this. Because when we saw all this stuff coming out, we're very happy about it, because there's a lot of things coming out that's tied into a couple of franchise worlds that we have a interest in.
We may have spent a time or two talking about, maybe invested some time watching.
But some people think we wasted time growing up talking about it, but that's okay.
We were just 30 to 40 years ahead of the curve.
We were. I was with comics, that's for sure. As a kid, I'm like, wouldn't it be great if they had movies about Spider-Man and Captain America that didn't suck?
That didn't.
That would be really fun. I mean, I
It's
actually
one
said
thing
that
on
as a
Electric
kid.
Company,
I
but
didn't
it's
say
not
that.
really a whole story.
I didn't say that word in front of my mom, but I said it amongst friends. I'm like, I hope they make movies about this one day, because it would be great. Well, now not only do we have movies, but we have TV series. Can you still call them that? Can you call it a TV? Yeah, I guess it's called streaming series. I guess that's what you say now. Streaming television series coming out. And wow, what a load from Disney that we're going to get. I mean,
I hope it's not overload.
Can you believe that? I hope it isn't either. But what gives me hope about that is, if it is, it's almost like you've got a library in town. Think back to when there was libraries and you could go to the library and rent a book. I know that there's still ones out there, but there's not a lot. Yeah. You can rent a book, check out, rent. It is kind of a rental.
You just don't have to pay
You
anything.
rented VHS tape. So
only if you're late. Late returning.
And on this Flash the Audience, sometimes we have stories of them being returned 50 years later, being overdue. I think of it all now like Netflix and Amazon Prime, any of the streaming access. I just think of them now as kind of big libraries that you don't have in your living room. But they are in your living room.
They're digital video libraries.
So they can come out with all the shows they want. You can watch them at your leisure. You don't have to catch them when they premiere. I may not get to some of these shows. I'm not kidding. I may not get to some of these for a long time because there's so many of them, and I haven't seen some older shows that I've been wanting to watch. I haven't even seen Game of Thrones yet. I've heard about it, but there's just so much stuff to watch, and you and I don't have. I mean, we have time, but
not
there's
that much.
no way we could sit. If you sat and binge watched it all, it would still take a long time with what's coming up on the horizon.
I just don't know how you even have time.
I'm just going to get to them. I want to prioritize. I mean, there's some from Marvel I want to watch, and there's some from Star Wars. So I'm not going to watch all the Marvel ones first. I'm going to mix them in, and then we still have the Mandalorian to keep up with and watch, which is fantastic too, by the way. But some of the highlights. Let's hit on some of them. So we saw the press conference with Kathleen Kennedy about Star Wars stuff coming out, and then we had other things with Marvel. As we know, it's all under the Disney umbrella now, Disney Plus, Disney Productions. I'll tell you the couple that I am the most excited for on streaming. And the reason is I'm a Captain America fan, and he's not even going to be in it. One of my favorite ones that I'm looking forward to is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, this looks like it's going to be really. You've got action, you've got espionage, it's spy stuff, it's intrigue, it's things going on behind the scenes that they have to fight. They're going to have some funny banter with each other. Did you see the trailer for it yet?
I didn't. I haven't watched a single trailer.
I've seen all the trailers so far. I got to see them all. I haven't seen The Mandalorian, but I did watch all the trailers. I did get something done, by the way. I got that done.
I was way too busy ripping up carpeting.
It looks, oh yeah, you had your own Marvel trailer, your own exciting thing to do. But it looks like a great show. I saw the Loki trailer too, by the way. And that's one where I'm like, okay,
that sounds cool because I like Tom Hiddleston.
It looked great. Maybe I can show you some of the trailers today before you leave the station. I'll watch them again here on the computer and we'll check them out. I'm looking forward to that. They also announced, along with all the shows, a She-Hulk television show about a female Hulk character, which was in the comic books. You have Moon Knight, which is kind of a weird schizophrenic Batman-ish type character from Marvel that they're going to have a show about. You're going to have a Nick Fury show with Samuel Jackson called Secret Invasion. So we're going to check out and see what that's about.
Secret Invasion, man.
Got that, and see, I can't remember every one of them, but they're going to have something. WandaVision looks insane. I don't know what they're doing with that, but it looks like it could be probably one of the most popular ones. The way they're putting that together, because the trailer of that looked just like off the chain.
You've been in the Marvel universe. What about all the Star Wars spin-offs and standalones they're going to talk about?
Right, that's under Disney too. I was just trying to get through the Marvel stuff, but I can't get through all of it. Now we're going to move into Star Wars stuff coming out.
The announcement was almost mind-blowing. Like I couldn't follow how much they're thinking about bringing to the small screen.
It's almost like before they had the little release, the press release out, they just kind of sat back and went, let's just blow everybody's mind tomorrow. Let's just bring all this out and tell them what's going on. Because everybody's in a bad mood. They're still in the dumps about 2020 and the pandemic. Let's just come out with some great news, that's stuff they can look forward to. And it worked with me because I'm really excited about all this stuff. I'm nerdly, geekly excited about all of this.
Well, I'm a capitalist at heart, and I can't fault Disney or Amazon or all these other streaming services saying, for now, the market is everyone wants to stay home.
Yeah.
Well, let's give them plenty of reason to stay there.
We're going to serve it to you on a silver platter if you want to stay home and not go to the theater.
And by the way, watch for your rates to start to increase.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Hey, right after the announcement, Disney Plus goes, hey, remember when we were only $7.95 a month?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's now $10.99.
Because we got you now.
We have
you. Want to see this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that we don't get to that because I got rid of satellite and did this Roku streaming Sling thing or whatever else other people
you are
do.
A slinger, are you?
And people do, YouTube TV. A lot of people do Hulu and a lot of other stuff. I'm hoping that this doesn't creep up and get to be as high as what I got rid of because
the whole point we cut the cable.
That's crazy. Then you got Star Wars shows coming out. You have a movie directed by Patty Jenkins from Wonder Woman that she's going to direct called The Rogue Squadron, which you said it might be Top Gun and Star Wars, which would be pretty cool.
Somebody was jokingly saying, "Are we going to have a volleyball scene? Do we have to have the obligatory, all the men, all these buff guys,
the song at the jukebox at the Cantina Band and start kissing?" and Mos Eisley.
No.
Yeah.
You're in a little...
By the way, 1977 plays a big part in our on this day history today, by the way. So, Star Wars shows, Star Wars movies, a lot of Star Wars shows, stuff that we didn't know about. It's Peak Counter. We're going to take a break now, but when we come back, we'll hear the Golden Age of TV and more talk about more stuff when we come back.
We'll return after these messages.
Nutty gritty, it's a snack you can munch. Nutty gritty, a healthy snack you can crunch. You take a bunch of nuts, any kind will do. Throw in a bunch of raisins too. Then invite a bunch of nuts to share with you your nutty gritty.
Do something good for your bod and brush your teeth after snacks. Join the Bod Squad. Join the Bod Squad.
I believe in the old things, family, friendship, fairness. That's what this country's all about. Taking it to the edge, laying it all on the line. I watch your tail, you watch mine. I value human life. Hey, we're all on the same side.
DJ Hooker, he's with you.
We're with you on ABC, with you.
When it comes to shows about movies and comic books, heroes and crazy news, I tune into BK on the air from 10 to noon Saturdays.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. TJ Hooker, starring William Shatner, aired from 1982 to 85 with a total of 91 episodes. At times, the show featured a number of past Star Trek alumni, including one who was just a little popular. Let's begin with Vic Tayback, known for his role as Mel on Alice. He played the mob boss Krakow in the 1968 Trek episode, A Piece of the Action. Ike Eisenman, known for the Disney film Escape from Witch Mountain, including many 70s TV shows, was also a guest star. Trekkers remember him as the doomed cadet Peter Preston in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. The Tony-nominated Robert Hooks has appeared in many Broadway productions, as well as T.J. Hooker. He played the corrupt Admiral Morrow in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Gary Lockwood was also a guest star, also known as astronaut Frank Poole from 2001: A Space Odyssey. He was in one of my favorite Star Trek episodes titled Where No Man Has Gone Before. Jonathan Goldsmith had a very brief appearance as a crewman on the episode The Corbomite Maneuver. Besides many classic TV appearances, he's also appeared in multiple episodes of T.J. Hooker. Today, he's simply known as the most interesting man in the world. The Dos Equis guy. William Shatner's then-wife Marcy Lafferty appeared on Hooker and also joined her husband on the bridge of the Enterprise in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. But by far the most prominent guest star from the Star Trek universe was Leonard Nimoy. In this episode, his character says, "I owe you one, Hooker." Then Shatner serves up a Trekkie treat with the line, "I remember saying that exact same thing to you 17 years ago," referring to the classic Star Trek episode, The Apple. This is Pat McCormick with your Retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. You can also find me on YouTube and Facebook at Golden Rage of TV and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1. And now back to BK on the Air.
Thank you, Pat, for that trip into the Golden Rage of TV. A nice installment about a television show that I watched, I guess, from time to time. And would I have watched T.J. Hooker if William Shatner had not been on it? Probably not.
To say you watched from time to time.
Just to be totally honest with everybody.
Yeah, I was a casual passing fan.
I always thought it was funny because his name was T.J. Hooker, but his initials as Kirk was J.T. He took T.J. and J.T. and just...
James Tiberius
around
Ticonderoga. Wait, no, what?
A lot of guest stars on there.
You know this, but every now and then I love when you remind people of some of the stuff. Tiberius was never brought up in the original series.
Never was. It was made popular and made part of the Star Trek lexicon in the animated series. The show that a lot of people go, well, that show isn't canon. I'm like, well, then his middle name isn't Tiberius then. So you got to pick. You can't pick and choose. Okay?
Yes, it is. You got a lot of the actors came and did the voices,
and
actually the writing was award-winning.
A lot of writing was a lot of Star Trek writers and stuff came in. I always considered Star Trek the animated show, and if you've never seen it, and you're a Star Trek fan, if you're a big Star Trek fan, you've seen it already. But if you've never actually watched the animated series of Star Trek from Filmation that came out in 1974 and ran for only about a season on NBC and won an Emmy too, by the way. It was so good it won an Emmy award. I consider that the official fourth season of Star Trek. I mean, it really was, because it was really... Did they have some little kiddie stuff on there? They did from time to time, but it was very
it's
well
a cartoon.
written.
They knew they had to do something.
Was very well
You know what's
written.
crazy about that? Some people say that's what got them into Star Trek. I actually discovered the animated series after... Because I used to watch the regular series on television as reruns growing up in Detroit.
That's 100% true about me. I started watching the Star Trek animated series first as a kid, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You mean there's a real show like this? And made me go back and watch that when it would come on.
Do you know, when I was a kid, I was like, they took the episodes and just turned them into cartoons? I just thought they had redone episodes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was a whole new series. I didn't, as a kid, I was like, they animated the TV show?
And another bit of trivia about it, every classic character from the old series was there except Chekhov. They did not add Chekhov for some reason. They had an alien, a three-armed...
They forgot to check him off the list.
But Walter Koenig, that plays Chekhov, did write an episode, though. And Lieutenant Eriks was the guy in place of Chekhov. He was a three-armed alien, I guess because they wanted to put an alien on the bridge.
Instead of a Russian?
So, instead of a Russian. He was a legal alien, illegal alien. Which one was he? And another funny thing about it, to cut costs, about every male or male type voice they needed on the show that was extra or an alien voice, they used James Doohan, the guy that played Scotty, because he could do a lot of voices.
Isn't that crazy?
He voiced about every other alien that came on board. Eriks, that replaced Chekhov, James Doohan did his voice. So other than that, they had every classic member of the show doing their own voices on the show, which was great. And James Doohan, people don't know this, and you remember Mark Leonard that played Spock's father? He's
played some other characters.
He's known for playing all three different aliens. He's played a Romulan. First, he played a Romulan on an old episode. Then he played a Vulcan, Spock's father. And he played a Klingon. He's the Klingon commander on the ship at the beginning of the motion picture, the ship that gets destroyed. He's playing the Klingon commander of that ship.
Isn't that
with
crazy?
all the bones on his head. But the voice of the Klingon in Star Trek the Motion Picture, speaking Klingon, is James Doohan. That's him doing the vocals. So a lot of goofy Star Trek trivia which set us on fire here.
Gotten you a book when you were a kid.
Well, no, if only it was a book. But if I found books on the subject, I would grab them and read them up.
Trivia of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I know what to find you on eBay now.
You're never going to be able to use this growing up. Oh, really? What if I have a radio show where I can talk about it? That's never going to happen.
You and 2 other people.
Maybe you and one other person. How many people can do that? It's a misspent youth of coming home after school and watching television every single freaking day of my life growing up. I did not want to miss any of that. On the way home, that's when I did my homework. If I had homework from school, I'm like, I'm doing homework on the bus. I'm going to do homework at the school before I get home. I'm not wasting valuable television time at home with homework. I'm doing it before I go to home or I go to school. That's when I did homework.
I was just giggling when you said misfit. I was thinking Island of Misfit Toys, and I was like, oh, we're the flightless bird that gets dropped off the back of the sleigh.
We're killed at the end of Rudolph.
Whoops, forgot that little line of dialogue earlier.
Which I've already watched, by the way. I have my little list of Christmas things to watch, and I've already watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. To me,
it's
in the top 5 of my all-time. And if you don't call it a movie, then you're wrong, because it is a television movie about Rudolph. It's with claymation, stop motion. It still holds up to this day. It's a fantastic story, and it was great to see those puppets, those little claymation figures, sell at an auction just a mere couple of months ago for lots of money. They say the Rudolph nose on the little claymation figure still is very bright and red, will glow red.
Does it make that noise?
I don't know if you probably have to do it yourself.
Sound like
kind of like Ewan McGregor would do his own lightsaber noises in Star Wars. We do that too. We do.
Yes,
it.
We do.
Let Alan and Barry get the lightsaber noise out of their system. Just let them get it out. We'll dub it over if we have to, because we've asked them 15 times to stop and they can't. So,
did they just ruin a take? No, we weren't rolling. We knew. You weren't
actually,
rolling?
what we did is we took the noise that they make and mix it with Ben Burt's noises, and it actually augments it, which is great.
Because we needed to have, like mentally retarded sounding sabers.
Mentally retarded. Can you say that still?
Okay.
Mentally challenged.
For us, we're talking about us. So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. For us, it's totally appropriate. 770-386-1450 is our number if you want to give us a call.
Idiotic. Does that make you feel better?
Obtuse. Think of several words that.
Why does his lightsaber sound like he's sighing?
I don't know.
Everybody's like, bzz, bzz,
I would have. They'd have to find me because, like, where's Barry? Well, he's on the set of a Star Wars movie. He's never been in one before, so every 10 minutes he goes to the bathroom. He's got to go to the bathroom about every 10 minutes because he's losing
wetting
his
pants.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff on the horizon. Thank you, Pat, because T.J. Hooker was a great cop show. Even though William Shatner was on it, because that's why I watched it, but it wound up being a pretty successful show for him on ABC. And then it moved to CBS for its last season. I forgot about that. It moved to a different season.
Are they planning kind of like a reboot of that?
Well, we heard one of our callers came in. I think Eric told us 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
He had heard something in the works about T.J. Hooker coming to the big screen, so we'll have to wait. Oh,
big screen. Okay, I thought it was the Netflix.
Well, it may not be the big screen now,
but it'd be like, hey, let's reboot it.
And you got to give make Shatner the captain. Make him the captain.
Give
of the
him
precinct.
A cameo.
Yeah, make him the boss, like Richard Hurd was in T.J.
Cool.
Hooker. Let him be the boss. So.
I'm sure he would do it.
Someone said, now, we talked earlier about all the things on the horizon from Disney and Marvel and Star Wars. Well, if you say Disney, they own both of them. One of the biggest things that I was telling you some things. What are you looking most forward to? I said what I was looking forward to. I'll have to add to that is the third Spider-Man film. Now, the more I hear about it, the more I'm really looking forward to that, because they're going to be mixing some of the original actors like Tobey Maguire. And, I'm not so much excited about Andrew Garfield, but that's cool if they want to throw him in there.
But the fact that they're going to at least acknowledging it.
Yeah. And that is blowing my mind how they're mixing all of that together. From the
Alfred Molina, that to me was like, because he's been my favorite villain so far.
He was great. I loved Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. Everyone they cast was
Willem
great.
Dafoe was good.
They were great. And the fact that they're bringing all of them back and mixing them in, I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's all going to start with Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness is what I hear. The word multiverse is the key word there. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's more than one universe. We've always known that in comic books. And comic books, they created multiverses, I think, and I know DC Comics did this way, is they came out with this multiverse thing because they tried to fix all the writing and the continuity mistakes they made in the past. They're like, Well, we show that there was a Superboy, but in original context, Clark never became Superman until he went to Metropolis and started working for the Daily Planet. So how was he Superboy from 14 to 18 years old? Well, it's because writers come up and they thought, well, wouldn't it be cool for Superman, for Clark, a young Superman called Superboy? Well, they fixed that because, by the way, there's lots of universes, and on this Earth number 4, he was Superboy for a while. It's a different Clark Kent on this Earth. I'm like, okay. So that's basically what they did to fix their errors in writing. So I thought was cool.
Well, it also allows for a lot of different storylines where you can play with the character and say, what if? Sort of almost like the Marvel series What If.
What If is coming out. What If is great. I hear that there's going to be one. I think the pilot episode is going to be What If Peggy Carter became Captain America.
Instead of
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
That's going to be fun to watch. And Haley Atwell will voice the character.
Yeah, it's a cartoon, right?
Yeah, it's animated. But it's that really cool modern-looking animation, which will hold your interest, hopefully, which is great.
As opposed to the old that no longer interests me?
Well, no, that's not true. I didn't really mean it that way.
Why are you saying it that way?
I didn't really mean it that way. It's like an old cell phone.
But I get it. It's sort of like 3D cell animation.
Right, which is great. Speaking on there, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll flash the audience, and we'll have more surprises coming up today. I'll tell you all about them.
So, we'll get your mother later and go to the movies.
Dad, we forgot the peanut butter. Can we buy Superman peanut butter?
Our brand's fine, honey.
Have you ever tasted Superman peanut butter? Its strength is its great taste.
Delicious. Smooth and creamy. A real fresh roasted peanut flavor.
It's nutritious, too. Superman peanut butter. Its strength is its great taste.
McDonald's. For you parents who don't speak Klingonese, he's saying, people of Earth, unite and bring your kids to McDonald's for a Star Trek meal. That's a regular hamburger, fries, soft drink, a McDonald and cookie sampler, and a Star Trek prize. Oh, yes, 5 different boxes based on Star Trek the Motion Picture. Action scenes, jokes, games. He says, take it from a father who knows. His kids love him. McDonald's Star Trek meal available for your kids now.
We're still getting off the air talking about all this stuff coming out on DVD and hopefully in the theaters too by Warner Brothers and stuff. I don't care anything that comes out by Warner Brothers or anybody in the theater. I'm going to see it in the theater first. That's just the guy I am. That's my DNA. That's my core of my living. That's the kind of life form that I am as I'm going to the movie theater so I can smell that popcorn, have that experience, and sit there and watch that movie on the big screen.
I got to tell you, when Dune comes out at the theater,
you're going to see that on the big screen. You're going to see.
I mean, here's the guy that I know our old friend Mike Clark hated 2049, the Blade Runner sequel. Same director, that innovative. It is a phenomenal movie, and just to hear it and see it, it's a feast for every one of your senses.
Did you see him coming out against the whole Warner Brothers deal? He's very angry about
I'm sure.
it. And I'm like,
because that movie needs to be in the theater.
Yeah, I don't care what kind of big screen you have at home, what kind of digital setup you have at home. You may have a great one, and then some of them are really great. Picture quality, sound quality, Blu-ray. It's never for me, and this may be the old-fashioned guy in me talking, it's never right now going to replace going to see that film projected on the big screen the way it's meant to see for the first time.
I can get a house that has a much larger room. I have a great sound system. I love my home theater, but it will never quite hit that same kind of reverb, cavernous-like feel of being in a giant theater.
I'll say the same thing you just said, except I will do it when I can afford the theater that's as big as the one I go to. If I can put that outside, beside the house. Oh, that's the theater out there that I have in the back
Honey,
building.
we need to have 18-foot ceilings, and it's got to have at least a 30-foot throw.
Exactly. When you watch a movie, it needs to be so big for me where to look at the character on the left side of the screen and the right side of the screen, I have to turn my head really far. It's like, it's big. I want to see it.
What are they doing way over there?
Yeah, and I want to hear him over there on that speaker on that side. I want it that balance too. It's just a thing for me. They played such a big role in my life, in both of our lives, and we really love it. So,
isn't it time for us to the audience?
Is.
This is what you normally say.
Yeah.
Of the news, the weird, the strange, the bizarre.
That's exactly what it is, and I got a few today.
Sounds like I'm filling in for you. What the heck's going on? But you're here.
You do fill in for me.
I do, but you're here.
Yeah.
It's like me driving your car while you're in it.
You know,
why am I doing this?
The only good thing, if you move on and get another station, or you get fired from here, the only thing that means is maybe I'll have a 5-hour show Saturday. I don't think that's the only thing that I'm looking forward to.
Would that happen? Keep turning the mics on.
Would that happen? I don't know. You can have an hour or more, not 3 hours.
All right. Well, let's get to it. I've got the first news. And here we are from UPI. The manager of a Walmart store in Tennessee said a secret Santa came into the store and paid nearly $65,000 to cover the cost of all current layaway items.
You know, we always have one or two of these every year, and I think that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. And if I had unlimited amounts of money, I might do stuff like that.
I would love to be able to do
That'd be
these
great.
kind of magnanimous sort of philanthropic
I would do
things.
that, and I would adopt every dog in every shelter that I could find.
I would buy the shelter and say, you guys keep doing what you're doing, but we are never killing another dog unless it has some like medical reason or
we're
something.
installing a new playground in the backyard for them to all play with.
We are going to have the Disney World of dog resorts. In fact,
that would be awesome.
Dogs
want
to come here rather than leave.
And you and I would go and we'd pet them and play with them.
Chris Light, the manager of the Walmart in Bristol, confirmed the person came into the store and made a $64,995.51 donation to clear the entire layaway balance. Lloyd Leonard, a customer at the store, said he was initially confused when he received a message saying his layaway purchase had been paid off and it was ready for pickup. Leonard talked to a store employee and discovered his bill was one of the ones that had been paid for by the anonymous donor.
So we were talking about big screen TVs earlier. How would you know that you had one on layaway? Yeah, if you had one on layaway and you went and you're like, oh, Alan, your TV's ready to pick up. You're like, no, I got 3 more payments to make on that. No, you don't. It's paid off. You're like, oh, that's awesome.
You know what's crazy? That there are still stores that have layaway.
Yeah, some of them don't now due to coronavirus. They have gotten rid of them. Some stores had that I found out.
There's very few chains, period, that have it.
Layaway was my best friend growing up, and it still is when according to some things, especially saving my life when getting some presents. I got the next news. Also from UPI, an Indiana portable toilet company shared a festive video of what it calls a world record for the most animated faces on a single holiday light display. That's great, but listen to the details. Service Sanitation posted a video on Facebook showing 32 portable toilets adorned with animated faces singing the song Hallelujah. I can't think of a better way, I guess, to do it. Have you ever had to go, speaking of that, have you ever had to go to the bathroom really bad that sometimes when you finally get there and it's that wonderful release that you sing Hallelujah? That's kind of fun. That's happened to me a couple of times on a road trip. By the way, you're nodding yes over there. Like,
where's the exit? Where's the next exit? Where's the next exit?
Steve Dykstra, director of marketing for the company, clarified that the feat was not an official world record, but the company considers it to be a world record because they could not find any other videos online to dispute the claim. A Guinness representative said a Guinness representative said the record-keeping organization does not monitor records involving animated faces and holiday lights displays. Well, why not? Why can't they be the first one?
Right.
I mean, some records had to start somewhere, didn't they? Like, most jumps on a pogo stick. Well, if no one did it before, I mean, you did the first one, why wouldn't they just start one?
Yeah.
That sounds kind of unfair. But I'll accept that as the record. That's the record right there.
As far as I'm concerned, they've said it. It's online. It must be true.
And look for it on YouTube because you can see the video of the urinals out there with the faces on it. It's nothing says Christmas than lit up urinals.
All right. I'm really worried about the heading of this one, but I'm going to dive into it anyway. So I've got the next news.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll see.
This sounds a little bit too much like up my alley versus yours. China's Aviation Authority released new COVID-19 safety guidelines.
Yeah, wait till you hear this.
All right, here's what China is saying. They include the suggestion that flight attendants wear diapers to avoid using the plane lavatories.
Telling me what this is all about, mister?
Diapers?
Oh, could you imagine? Because, you know, you're basically when you're seated and the steward, when the flight attendants are walking down the aisle, I don't need the wafting smell of a full diaper coming up my way.
I sound like Eric.
The Civil Aviation Administration of China's document titled Technical Guidelines for Epidemic Prevention and Control for Airlines offers suggestions for hygiene practices to prevent flight crew members from contracting the coronavirus. The document, which includes recommendations for use of medical masks and other personal protective equipment, drew attention online for one unusual suggestion. It's recommended cabin crew wear disposable diapers and avoid using lavatories, barring special circumstances to avoid infection risks.
We're on a 12-hour flight. Oh, the flight attendant just walked by me. Is there anything? Why add anything to that?
Oh, you know what? There's more to that paragraph, but I'm going to ignore the rest.
I can't even. I got the next news.
Mind-boggling.
Let's switch gears from UPI. Joe Fitzgerald of Pinellas County said he and his wife, Elif, attended the annual Denim and Diamond charity event for the Hands Across the Bay on this last Saturday, and they were among the sponsors of the event, so they had a lot to pack up at the end of the night. Fitzgerald said his trunk was full when they left the event, but the couple did not realize that the rear hatch of their vehicle came open during transit. At the bag containing $250,000 worth of jewelry fell out onto the road. I don't know what I would do if that happened to me. If I just lost, it wouldn't be jewelry, just anything that worth $250,000.
Drive off that bridge.
Just came, yeah. Oh, we've lost it. Well, where's the next bridge?
There we go. We're done.
The couple said they only discovered the trunk was open when Elif Fitzgerald checked her phone and discovered that she had dozens of missed calls telling her that the bag belonging to her had been found in the road. The couple learned the bag had been found by a kind stranger.
Thank goodness.
Fitzgerald said she was surprised by the man's honesty. The couple said they are now planning to meet up with the man to reward him for his good deed.
Well, good. That wouldn't happen to me. Either one, I wouldn't find the jewelry.
You mean, wait a minute, it wouldn't happen to you if you lost it or if you found
Both.
that stuff?
Both. I don't find it, and if I were to lose it, I wouldn't get it back.
If you did find it.
No, if I did find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine. I'm just kidding.
Mommy, would you?
I gotta go buy. I gotta take care of the dog
I
farm.
just found $250,000 worth of jewelry.
Now, you
well,
know what,
here he is. Barry BK on the air has returned this $100,000 worth of jewelry.
Okay.
Wait, it's $250,000 lost. Well, I only found 100.
Hey,
I think
when
some
I
people
found it,
picked
the
up.
zipper was open and it had. I guess some of it spilled. I don't know, but this is all I could find.
There was another great soundbite for you that I can isolate that you just said. I'm going to use that one too. I found it. The zipper was open. I want to isolate that one, by the way.
Hello.
I did one last week. I'll tell you about it.
Sponsored by Parker Brothers. Homemade fun for over 90 years. Boom, 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 boom.
Parker Brothers bonkers with and funny twisted track and send you backward to go forward or forward to go back. The bonkers board keeps changing with every single play. With bonkers cards and bonkers dice, it is not the same game twice. And you go back and forward faster in a bonkers kind of fun. And you're certain that you're losing when suddenly you won. Bonkers is fun. Bonkers is nice. Bonkers is never the same game twice.
Bonkers from Parker Brothers.
It's okay if you don't understand what he's talking about. He probably doesn't either. It's BK on the air on AM 1450, FM 100.3, and online using the Tunein radio app.
Thank you. It's BK on the air. We're back here having a good time. It's Christmas is getting closer and closer and closer, and I do love it that Christmas is getting closer. We finally put up our tree this past Monday. That's when we got ours out. Hey, we get around to it when we can.
Because you got so much else going on.
Yeah, we don't make it such a... Well, I do. I'm a busy guy, man.
There's so many
But
shows
it's
to
busy
watch.
stuff that I do that doesn't count for
Can't you
anything
put the
else.
tree up while you watch?
No, not me. Obviously, I can't.
I have to focus. I might miss a detail.
By the way, I've got a story coming up later about Christmas trees and putting them up that's very holiday related, but in a funny way.
You going to give
later
us
in the
another
program
tip
today.
that's wrong on how to light the tree?
No, I'm not going to do that. I tore that one up on the air.
You did. That's right.
You knocked that
you
one
went
down,
overboard on the news flashes. You got a bunch
I did.
left.
We got a few of them. We can do them. It's Christmas.
Do you want
What
to?
the
It's
heck?
up to you.
Yeah, we can keep going.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, because we've got a lot of less stuff
Look at
going
this
on.
guy. Look at
Hey,
that.
you got a guy.
Lars.
What's that?
Lars.
Lars.
I
is-
love that name, Lars.
His name is Lars. Looking through the window on
Yes.
the radio station.
Yes, he's a
Lars.
superhero.
He looks like he could lift
He does.
both you and I up over his head, probably.
He could.
And if it was me, that's a big feat because you bench press me, you got some muscles. I'm
Yes.
telling you right now.
Yes, he can bench both of
So
us
that's great.
at the same
He also-
time.
He also has us beating facial hair. We can't grow hair like that on our face to save our life. So, and I
Oh.
love
Let's go ahead and finish this
You
up.
got
I got
the
the
next-
next news.
of many more
Yes.
flashes that we have. Yes.
Well, I had a lunch meeting with somebody, and she was like all into thinking this is definitely more than just coincidence. A mysterious monolith was found outside a Texas shopping center
Another
just
one?
days after similar discoveries in Utah, Romania, and California. Yes, visitors to the Substation Shopping Center in El Paso snapped photos of the silver-colored metal structure spotted next to the road on Monday. Now, the monolith's origins were unknown. The structure appeared to be very similar to the other monoliths that have been discovered of late, and, of course, was subsequently removed, just like the other monoliths. Maybe it's the same one, and it's just on tour.
I don't get it.
But anyway, that's whatever's going on. I said, you know what? You could have a little small group of just like 30 artists sharing some web forum, and they're all like, "Hey, this would be kind of fun to do."
Sure, and They haven't really told us whether it's really aliens doing it or is it art or someone doing it that's not telling them what they're doing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, that's fine. But if it's really aliens, wouldn't it be kind of interesting? And if it is aliens, would they tell us? We've talked about that too. So look, we found a monolith over here. And if they find it, they have to play that from now on. If you find one, you've got to play the theme of 2000, which is classical music, by the way. It was not written for that movie, but
Also
Stanley Kubrick
sprach
used it for that.
Zarathustra.
Yeah. Are you clearing your throat over there?
Well, I was just saying the name.
The Schwartz. Can you read it? Yogurt? No, I'm just clearing my throat. Spaceballs.
Yogurt the Great. Yogurt the Wonderful. Yogurt the Magnificent.
Just plain yogurt. I got the next news. Oh, my goodness. A food company in the Philippines broke a Guinness World Record. They did break this one when it assembled more than 70,000 cans into a nearly 20-foot tall Christmas tree. Do you want to take a big guess of what the cans were, what they were cans of before? I don't know if they're empty or still full.
Tuna.
Oh, you were so close. It's sardines.
Sardines!
So you're thinking fish. So you got really close. And they're even really more oddly shaped, the little sardine cans.
Oh.
Mega Sardines, a Philippines-based food brand, said a total of 70,638 cans of sardines were stacked in the shape of a Christmas tree to break the Guinness record for the tallest can structure. The can tree, which measures 19 feet, 4.5 inches tall, was assembled in a warehouse in Valenzuela City and is now on display at the SM Mega Mall building. Mega Sardine said the tree weighs nearly 31,000 pounds. 31,000 pounds. The can used for the Christmas tree sculpture will be donated to charity. So they're unopened, so that's good. They're going to give the sardines. I hope the folks like sardines at whatever charities that they
I know I've tried them. Maybe I've gotten the wrong ones, but I'm not
a
into
big
it.
sardine. But you mentioned tuna. I love tuna, though.
Love
tuna salad, tuna. I love just draining the tuna cans out and just putting just plain tuna with just mayonnaise on the bread to make a sandwich with. You don't even have to make it that way, so it's great.
I love tuna.
With lemon and pepper.
All right, is this the last one? Yeah, I got the last news. I had the first and the last. Wow, I'm the bookends today.
What a bookend you are, too.
Oh, look at you.
Wow.
You're treating me so well. What do I owe you?
You and your Pat McCormick Golden Rage of Retro TV T-shirt on.
I figured I'd wear it. I'm going to send it to Pat later.
He'll love that.
All right. Well, the world's first commercially printed Christmas card, originally marketed in 1843, is being sold through a Boston-based book dealer for you want to care to guess?
I didn't look at it, so I can't remember. $50,000.
Close. Well, it was, but they have a half-off sale.
Is it
$25,000.
Oh, it's lower. Okay, that's half off. Yeah.
$25,000.
Can I use my coupon?
$1,000. You can put that on your credit card, can't you?
Yeah. It won't go through, but I'll put it on there.
This is kind of cool. The card, created by Henry Cole, John Calcott, Horsley, and Joseph Kundell, is the same year that Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol was first published, showing a large family, including a young girl, gathered around a table drinking glasses of wine. The card proved controversial at the time, with members of Britain's temperance movement decrying the depiction of alcohol consumption by a young girl. What is this?
Horror.
I like the
crazy
by the group that like to call themselves the temperance movement. We must keep our emotions tempered.
My, how times have changed.
We don't get all uppity. We're stiff upper lip Brit. We don't get into temperance.
Isn't it weird how times have changed? I remember when we could go to the theater to see a movie.
Yes.
I mean, we went and sat down, got popcorn, and watched it on the big screen.
But then we decided it was not temperate.
And not, clean enough, I guess.
The temperament of the country was not such. All right, anyway, Justin Schiller, president of Baltimore Limited, the New York antiquities dealership that currently owns the card, said the card was so controversial when it was released that it was 3 years before another Christmas card was commercially printed. About 1,000 copies of the card were originally produced, and around 30 are still known to exist. The one being sold through Boston-based book dealers Marvin Getman as one of the finest known copies still in circulation.
And you know it's uppity when they use the word. They don't use the word antiques; they say antiquity.
Ooh, yes, the antiquities.
That's a little different than.
Because now you're not putting on the British; you're putting on the Fraser.
He was just a little tree, kinda scrawny, kinda thin. In that great big house, didn't seem to fit in. And Christmas Eve, he heard the mistress of that big old house say, that little tree is ugly, get a new one
The Christmas Tree That Ran Away. That little song used to be part of a record I had as a kid. I had a Christmas record as a child that I listened to every Christmas called Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's by a group called the Caroliers. And some people out there growing up that are my age may have had that record. And it's got a bunch of songs on it. I'll be weaving them in during this Christmas season like I always do. Loved listening to that song. Had them all memorized. And they did a lot of the Peter Pan records growing up. They had their own little records for children. That's just one of the ones that I remember. I play that because I got a story here about, didn't know this fact, and it sounds kind of high, so I'm kind of wondering if this is true. 20% of Americans have reportedly gotten hurt while doing this for Christmas, getting ready for Christmas in 2020.
Hanging lights on the roof.
You know what? That's a great guess, but that's not it.
I saw Clark Griswold.
It's setting up the Christmas tree.
No, come on. How do you get hurt? Well,
you
maybe
better
your
watch
back.
out. Yeah, Christmas tree-related injuries are on the rise. At least that's what a survey from Lending Tree's Insurance Comparison Resource Value Penguin says.
Wait a minute. On the rise, like it's some kind of a breaking news
Yes.
story. Folks, this just in. On the rise.
According to the survey, and I question this. It sounds like it's way too many. According to its survey, 1 in 5 Americans have reportedly been injured while setting up their Christmas tree this year. Is that because it's 2020? I don't know. This number is 122% higher than what they reported last year, the same outfit doing the survey. Of those who admitted they have received an injury from a Christmas tree, most were men. Well, of course. Come on. And when it comes down to which generation has been hurt the most from a Christmas tree this year, it was largely the whippersnappers getting tree-related boo-boos. 27% of Gen Xers said they have been injured, followed by 24% of millennials. Only 5% of the baby boomers, our parents, reported experiencing the same. Well, that's because they're not putting them up anymore. We're putting them up for them. Now, interestingly, 24% of the survey's respondents said they feel safer with an artificial tree versus 8% who said they feel safer with a real tree. That just sounds like a lot of people getting hurt putting up Christmas trees, like more than there
must mean
should
they're
be.
talking about live trees and they're getting slivers
Right.
or
But
things
it all
like that.
does you think
But
it has
still,
something to do with the I would say it has something to do with the pandemic, everyone being at home, but I mean, wouldn't they be putting up? You put up the tree no matter what. I don't
maybe
care
our
if it's a
society
pandemic
has
or
just
not.
gotten to the point where we're just all just stupid.
We're just klutzes.
We just can't do anything. Hey,
Well,
my
that's
buddy that
crazy.
was
Isn't
out
that
there,
funny?
I want to give this a quick shout out.
Okay.
If you want to come on down,
Come on
Cartersville
down.
Middle School is doing some. Their band is going to be playing some Christmas music at 11:30 downtown.
Oh, wow.
And they want everyone to come on down and just listen because it's outside. You
Right.
can be distant and yet hear a live middle school band
And
playing
where are they?
music.
Just we're in the downtown area somewhere. They should walk by here and wave at us too.
I think they're not going to walk around. I think they're down by the depot.
When they're
area.
done, then come by and say, "Hey,
Sounds like a
just
good
wave
plan.
away."
So come on down. It's at
Christmas
11:30.
downtown. Funny you should say, "Come on down." I got a Bob Barker thing on this day in history coming up later, like The Price is Right. Come on down. It's BK on the air.
This is Rom, the Space Knight. You can imagine he comes from another galaxy with his flashing neutralizer. Activate Rom. You can imagine he has rockets to blast into space and a translator that communicates with lights and sounds. You can even imagine his respirator lets him breathe in any atmosphere. Rom comes with the 3 plug-in accessories shown. 9-volt battery not included. Rom, the Space Knight, an electronic toy new from Parker Brothers.
Saturday morning on CBS starts with high-flying fun with Mighty Mouse and Heckle and Jekyll. Then it's the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Show, followed by the all-new Popeye Hour. And don't miss Fat Albert, Jason of Star Command, and Tarzan and the Super 7. Then there's always something unusual on 30 Minutes. Fun and adventure every Saturday morning on CBS.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air. Christmas is coming up, and, I'd like to do something here, at least for the next few Christmas episodes before it comes up. Power Records used to be my staple as a kid. When I couldn't see the shows or the television shows, they made records of Star Trek, $6 Million Man. They did Wonder Woman, Batman, Captain America. Power Records. You probably had one as a kid. There were audio adventures, and they're almost like little radio dramas. Well, it is Christmas, so I'm going to present to you right now the $6 Million Man story of Christmas lights from Power Records.
At the headquarters of the Air Defense Command, the watchguard of the United States security against enemy attack, a strange radio message has been intercepted. Unable to decipher the highly sophisticated code, experts have forwarded the message to the Office of Scientific Intelligence in Washington.
Steve, I'm glad Glad you could make it. No problem, Oscar. I'm staying in town for the holidays. Steve, the Air Defense Command in Colorado Springs picked up an unusual radio message the other day on a restricted frequency. No identification codes? That's part of the problem. All messages received over the defense network are preceded by an identification code, and they are followed by a second ident code before signing off. And this communication has no code on either side. They can't even decode the message. What are we going to do? It defies analysis, Steve. As a matter of fact, nothing on record as language or numeric code is anything like it. I've called in Dr. Landis. Ethel Landis? She's the top expert in the field of coded communication. And she has a lot of kooky ideas, Oscar. I know, Steve, but we can't afford to overlook any possibilities.
Dr. Landis is here, Mr. Goldman.
Thank you. Please send her right in. She's here, Steve.
Hello, Oscar. It's been a long time. And Colonel Steve Austin. What a pleasant surprise. You're really calling out the troops, Oscar?
Yes, well, have you gone over the information I sent you?
Yes.
And have you reached any conclusions?
Yes, I have, but...
Well, don't keep us in suspense, Dr. Landis.
Please, Steve, call me Ethel. Oscar, this may seem far-fetched, but my observations are based on carefully computed data.
Well?
Do you know what a supernova is?
Exploding star.
That's correct, Steve. In this case, we are talking about the sun of a solar system similar to ours.
I don't see...
It's really very simple. Approximately 2,000 years ago, a large star appeared in the sky over the Middle East. Many scientists believe it was a supernova.
What does this have to do with the radio messages?
You won't believe this.
Try me.
Okay. I believe the messages are the final words to come from that solar system before their sun exploded.
If that's true, millions of people believe that was the guiding light to Bethlehem.
It was. And that is why it is imperative to decipher the message.
You haven't done that?
I can't. The radioactivity in our atmosphere is cutting down the reception. The only way to get the entire communique is to send someone up into space above the radiation belt.
Looks like I've been elected.
2 days later at Cape Canaveral, Colonel Austin and Dr. Landis are in the forward stage of a Titan rocket awaiting takeoff.
I didn't realize you were going to join me, Doctor.
Someone who is familiar with intergalactic communications had to go.
Do you really think that this may be some sort of Christmas greeting?
It's the only thing that makes sense.
15 seconds, Steve. All systems show green for go. Fuel positive, safety breakers on, escape mode is armed. Roger, Houston. Rolling to 45 degrees port. Speed to 1200.
I'm starting to receive the message, Steve.
I'll turn on the recorders. Steve, we show a trouble light down here. My panel is clear, Oscar.
Everything seems fine.
Check your guidance system. Left end gyros. Still negative, Oscar. We show trouble indicators. Voyager 1, come in. Please, Steve, come in. Houston, this is Voyager 1. We show trouble status on forward guidance system. Vessel is out of control. We've been struck by space debris. Outer hull is shattered. I can't hold course. Voyager 1, this is Houston. Do you read? I repeat, Voyager 1, this is Houston. Do you copy? Steve, Dr. Landis, please answer. Houston, this is Voyager 1. Do you read? Oscar, come in, please. Come in.
It's no use, Steve. The radio's dead. What happens now?
We drift.
For how long?
Until the end.
There's nothing to be done, even with your bionics?
I'm afraid we're helpless.
I thought the radio was dead.
It is. I don't know what we're receiving.
It's coming directly through. It must be the alien message.
Then you must be right. It did originate out here.
Let's see if the recording equipment is still working. It still works.
Let's get it all.
The entire cycle takes about 25 minutes.
At least we got what we came for. Now if we could only get home.
I have the entire message recorded, Steve. I wish I could get back to my lab to decode it.
Ethel, do you think the gyros blew out because of a power overload when we were struck?
That would seem to be the only likely explanation.
Which means that a boost of high voltage energy into the power system should start the emergency power.
It might, Colonel. What are you suggesting?
My bionic power source linked to the ship's system might give us enough power to ignite the guidance relays and resume radio contact. Then they could bring us down from the ground.
But what will that do to you, Colonel?
That's a chance I'll have to take.
Colonel Austin, Steve, are you all right? Steve, answer me.
Voyager 1, do you read? I repeat, Voyager 1, come in.
This is Voyager 1. Colonel Austin is seriously injured. Please bring us home.
With radio communication reestablished, ground control brings the Voyager 1 safely back to Earth. Steve Austin is sent to the special OSI facility for vital treatment on his bionic system.
Hey, buddy. Merry Christmas, and welcome back to Earth. It's good to be back. That was a smart idea. Plugging yourself into the ship's electrical system was a miracle.
That's not the only miracle, Steve.
What did you find, Ethel?
It's very exciting. I've decoded the message.
What does it say?
First, let me say that I think it is from a solar system that no longer exists. It might have been a warning sent out by the inhabitants of the system when they realized their sun was going to explode.
You mean the supernova?
That's right, Oscar.
What was the message?
As close as I can interpret, it says, prepare for a new day.
That's all?
Yes, but what is really ironic is that the message is just reaching us now.
What do you mean?
My original theory was right. The supernova occurred exactly 2,011 years ago, on the first Christmas Eve.
Who is talking about miracles?
Power Records, The $6 Million Man Christmas Lights installment. One of the many ones that I used to listen to as a kid, the $6 Million Man Records, along with all the others. It's BK on the air with Nostalgia Geekiness. We'll be back with more right after these messages.
What's the worth of a man? For Steve Austin, it's $6 million.
Colonel Austin is in that plane.
Well, I think they're going to shoot us down.
Isn't there any other way?
Lee Majors is Steve Austin. Steve Austin is the $6 million man, and he's worth every penny.
Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic. Whoa!
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WVHF. I was so glad to be able to play that $6 Million Man Power Records. I may do that. That'll be a reoccurring thing on the show, the Power Records Theater. I might play a few of those as the show progresses along, because I used to listen to those. They're kind of, now, if you listen to them, they're kind of like little audio radio dramas, because they're for audio. That's all we could do is listen to stuff on record like that. Do you remember photo novels, too, when you would get a movie or an episodic television series that was in book form, but it was stills from the movie with word balloons coming out of their mouths, kind of like a comic book? I had a Grease one, and I had Star Trek episodes that way. Hey, that's the only way we could re-experience things like that before home video.
I didn't have that, but I had a lot of the Chime, turn the page, follow along.
Those are great, too, yeah. Some of those Power Records were that way. They came with booklets, and they'd play the little bling for you to turn the page to the next thing. The Star Trek ones were that way. But a lot of effort back, we're talking about the early to mid-'70s when these were made, back on record vinyl record. You know, back when we had vinyl, when it wasn't used as a music instrument like it is now. In certain songs, they use that record. Right. As an instrument more than anything else. So you know what I mean by that.
I do now.
This day in history, let's do that since we've got some time here. Today is December the 12th on this day in history. A lot happened on this day in history. 1787, I'm going way back for this one. Pennsylvania becomes the second state to ratify the U.S. Constitution on this date in history. That's
congratulations.
On this day in history.
How far you've come.
A long way. December 12th on this day, 1941, The Wolfman from Universal Pictures debuts in the theater.
Ooh.
And just chilled everyone when they saw it. Probably one of my favorite Universal horror films. If you've never seen the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr.,
it was on this day in 1941?
1941 on this day.
So just a handful of days after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, and it came out like in December, not in October for Halloween. It was more like a Christmas December movie, The Wolfman from Universal. On this day in history, December the 12th, 1946, Tide detergent was introduced
First eaten?
on this day.
Oh.
No pods back then. No, we weren't idiots back then. They only eat it today.
Wait, you're not supposed to put soap in your mouth on purpose?
You eat the Tide Pods, but you also use the sprinkling Tide for a seasoning. Why do you do that? That's wrong. That's completely wrong.
Just a
yes,
pinch.
Tide. Boy, that was a staple in my house growing up. That's just the one my mom used growing up. I always remember that red box with the logo on it. 1966 on this day in history. A great movie. If you've never seen it, you need to see it. It's A Man for All Seasons. Premieres in New York. It
Was
won
he about
Best
a weather
Picture.
guy?
No, it's not a... You'd think so. That'd be it today. No, it's Paul Scofield plays one of the Monsignors, and it was a stage play for years too. And he was just vilified for going against and not honoring Henry VIII's divorce that he had, and paid the ultimate price for it, for sticking by his values. That's what the whole movie's about. 1967. If you've never seen A Man for All Seasons, you should watch it. Paul Scofield. That may not ring a bell with you, but he was a great actor. Kenneth Branagh. I'm sure the last thing you saw him in was he played the French Dauphin king in Henry V.
Henry V.
That he was king of France in Henry V. That's Paul Scofield. He played Man for All Seasons. Kenneth Branagh obviously was a fan of his, so he put him in there.
Now I might be getting too British actors, but wasn't he in Quiz Show?
I'll have to look it up and see. We'll have to look it up and see. He might have been, because I don't remember Quiz Show that well. Oh, wow. This how awesome that this story comes up today. On this day in history, December the 12th, and I'll expand more on him later on in the program. 1953 on this day, Chuck Yeager reaches Mach 2.43 in the Bell X-1A rocket plane. On this day in history.
Wow.
On this day in history, 1964, December the 12th, they start shooting the pilot for Star Trek on this day in history, called The Cage, with Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Pike back in 1964. That would later be turned into a two-part regular series Star Trek episode, The Menagerie. They'd use footage from The Cage and the episode The Menagerie. Today in 1977, on this day in history, Saturday Night Fever premieres. We got some movie premieres on here. Yes, Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta. And in 1977, number one at the box office is Oh God, with
Bob Denver
and George Burns playing God in Oh God. And
John Denver, not Bob.
That's right, John Denver. Yeah, you messed up like I did last week on Axl Rose.
Well, I knew I said it. I was like,
Axl Rose.
It sounds similar.
So you caught your mistake.
No,
I didn't catch mine last week. Axl Rose
Axl
and Axel Foley. Listen to last week's episode. You'll see what I mean. What's funny is on this day, December 12th, the number one movie was Oh God. It replaced a movie that was at number one, called Star Wars. Believe it or not.
Wow.
Well, Star Wars had been out all year at that point. So,
yeah, still.
So Oh God came out and replaced it as the number one movie.
With the premise of that movie, I remember that was like everyone talked about that movie.
Yeah,
with George
it was. They had like two sequels after that.
They had at least one.
Now, what's funny is the very next week, Star Wars returned to the number one spot and reclaimed it again after 29.
After seeing it, let's go back and see a movie we know
after
we're
being
gonna
out for so long. On the Billboard chart in 1977, the number one song on the Billboard chart on December 12th in 1977, "You Light Up My Life" by Debbie Boone. Sorry. With all apologies that everybody likes that song, that is the most that
was the number one
sugary song. And by the way, it knocked out a number one song. Of course, with the new song being number one, Debbie Boone's "You Light Up My Life" on December the 12th, 1977, knocked out the Star Wars Cantina Band song.
So Star Wars got supplanted
from number
twice.
one song. I wonder if it went back to number one. I don't know. I don't have that. So. This day in history, 1980, Apple makes its initial public offering on the U.S. stock market on this day.
Wish I'd
in 1980. 38 years later, it would become the first U.S. company valued over $1 trillion. How'd you like to have got in on the ground floor of that? Yes. And on this day in history, in December 12th, 1991, Orion Pictures filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. And I think it made me mad because I had a little small extra part in RoboCop 3 that filmed in Atlanta back in 1989 or 90. And I was waiting. I'm like, oh, RoboCop 3 is going to come out. Maybe I'll get to see and it was delayed for years because of Orion's bankruptcy. I finally got to see it. But, yeah, good old Orion Pictures. I think they've come back since then, but yeah, that's one of the earliest pictures companies I remember filing for bankruptcy that I can remember in my
By
memory.
the way, I was correct. Paul Scofield was in the movie.
He was
Quiz
in
Show.
the movie. Wow, I had to
Played
see
Ray
that.
Fiennes' dad. And I remember a lot of people talked about this cake eating scene where Ray Fiennes realized, I'm going to get in trouble here because we've been cheating this whole time. But the TV producer said it was okay. We're going to do all this, but I'm about ready to go in front of an investigation. And,
wow.
I don't know if you saw the movie. I thought it was great. It was when Ray Fiennes was really right after Schindler's List, and everybody was like, who is this guy? He's amazing.
Well, I can't remember what year that came out because Paul Scofield passed away, and it may not have been long after that movie had come out. Birthdays today, Edward G. Robinson. His birthday is today. Died in 1973. Today is Frank Sinatra's birthday. Summer Wind. He died in 1998.
Jingle bells, jigga jingle bells.
1998. And today is, by the way, I told you we had a tie-in. Today is Bob Barker's birthday today.
Bob Barker?
Bob Barker. There's a Pluto channel. If you got Pluto TV, look out because they've got a new channel totally devoted to Bob Barker's era and reruns of The Price is Right. Today is
neuter your animals.
You're right. How much do you bid? Today is Sarah Douglas's birthday. It may not ring a bell to you, but she's the English actress who played in Conan the Destroyer, Superman 2, and Falcon Crest, and the Visitors, the Lizard Visitors back in the day. She played Ursa from Superman 2, one of the villains. She's the female. She's played in a lot of things. Sarah Douglas' birthday today. And today also today it's birthday of Jennifer Connelly.
I've always liked her.
She's not bad.
I got introduced to her. What was the movie, Jim Henson movie she was in with the
Labyrinth?
Yeah, she was in. That was the earliest thing she was in, I think. But I didn't see that till later. The first thing I saw her in was Career Opportunities. That was a stinky movie, but it was great to look at her throughout the entire film. Somebody's on the line here, calling in right now. I think I know who this is. Hey, it's BK on the air. Who is this?
Hey, this is Jeff. What's going on?
Not much, Jeff. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm finding a dog hair split away.
Well, I've felt that way before. My dad used to go, I'm happier than a pig and a big thing of slop. I'm like, that's pretty happy.
That's pretty happy.
Great.
All right, I need some advice.
Oh, you sure you call the right people for advice? You want advice from me? What?
Well, he figures if he just listens to us, he'll do the exact opposite.
That's true, too. They could do that. What you need? What's going on?
Fine, this is your specialty, so.
Uh-oh. Losing, okay.
I'm not real big on movies. I've never watched not one of the Star Trek movies. Which one should I watch?
The Star Trek movies? Okay, so were you a Star Trek fan of the old show? Did you like Kirk and Spock and all those guys?
Oh, yeah. I've watched every one of the Star Trek series at least twice.
Well, who's your favorite group cast? Is it the classic guys, the old ones?
No, actually, my favorite's Next Generation.
Okay, well, if your favorite's the Next Generation, I would suggest that you just start with the first Next Generation movie.
It's called Generations.
It's called Generations, and it actually it takes place not too long after the last episode of the Next Generation. Watch Star Trek Generations and the following few. Some of them aren't as good as the others, but they've got some pretty good offerings. The Next Generation movie. Start with Generations and go up from there. That one came out in 1994.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I will tell you, Jeff, though, if you've never seen it, you've at least owe yourself watching Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
And if you've never seen any of them and you're a Star Trek fan and don't want to pick and choose, go back after you've seen your Next Generation movies. Go back and watch the original Crew movies, which started in '79 with the motion picture, then The Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock. Some of them are very closely connected. Star Trek 2 through 4 are kind of like a trilogy that are kind of connected to each other. So you can't go wrong with any of those. And watch them in order. I think you'll have a good time.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
All right, well, good.
All right, buddy, let us know.
Live long and prosper. All right, bye. I mean, since he liked the Next Generation, he could start with the Next
Generations.
So it's BK on the air. We're going to take a break. Someone's calling. We can't take the call. Call us back after the break. I can't take your call right now. So if you want to call back and talk to me, National Day today. It's National Ding-a-ling Day today. So
do you have Chuck Berry queued up?
Well, I wish I could, but we're talking, so we're dinging. It's National Ding-a-ling Day on December the 12th. It encourages us to reconnect with people who we once talked to often. Give them a ding-a-ling. So,
a ring-a-ling, ding-a-ling.
Yeah. And today is also Gingerbread House Day. Getting close to Christmas, why not, right?
Yeah. So, I like gingerbread.
2 ding-a-lings on the air right here. We'll be back with a couple of ding-a-lings and more. It's BK on the air, and I got a lot more stories coming up, including Chuck Yeager passed away. We'll talk about his career and some of the amazing things that he accomplished.
Tonight, an ABC premiere presentation.
Take her out.
The adventure continues.
You didn't expect to find me.
The deadliest criminal in the galaxy is on the loose.
He wants to kill me.
And the battle lines are drawn.
There she is.
William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and Ricardo Montalban.
Fire!
Star Trek II.
The base is starboard.
In. The Wrath of Khan. Next.
Computer, request security procedure and access to Project Genesis summary.
Identify for retina scan.
Kirk, Admiral James T.
Security scan approved.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. Having a good time cruising up to Christmas, getting closer to Christmas as we inch right along. As Archie Bunker used to say, Christmas season has got us by the throats. And it's coming up. That's how he would put it. 770-386-1450 is the number. Somebody's on the line right now. Let's go ahead and go on the line and see who is calling. Hey, it's BK on the air. Who is this?
Hey, BK, it's BR again.
Hey,
What's
BR.
that?
It's not again. You called Alan's show earlier. You didn't call mine, so it's you for the first time.
It was the mind meld, so I fundamentally called both of y'all.
Yeah.
But no, you brought up Jennifer Connelly, and yeah, I'm with you on that. Anyway,
I'm glad you are. I second my opinion. Yeah.
But I think she made her big screen debut in a movie called Once Upon a Time in America.
So that might have been was before her big Jim Henson Labyrinth.
Really, I
movie,
thought it said introducing Jennifer Connelly in Labyrinth.
I would have to look it up and see. Is that what it said on IMDb?
Okay, but it was a movie with De Niro and James Woods.
Remember that? Yeah. Okay.
But I'm like I said,
maybe Labyrinth was her first time she was credited as a star at the beginning of the film. Maybe that's what it was.
Distinct possibility, because all she had was she had an early scene.
Yeah.
In that movie. Yeah, I just want to chime in and say,
yeah, she had an incredible career and still has. She's got a lot of diversified roles over the years and changed a lot to drama and stuff. And she had it was a horrible themed movie. The theme of it was horrible, but it was a very well done dramatic movie called The House of Sand and Fog with Ben Kingsley. Did you ever see that?
I did see that, and the only reason I viewed was forget Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
I mean, he's a great actor, but that was not the reason I tuned in at that juncture in my life.
Speaking of Ben Kingsley, do you know how many times Patrick Stewart says he's been mistaken for Ben Kingsley in his career?
Oh, wow.
He says, please don't call me Ben Kingsley by mistake years ago. They would mistake the two.
And to me, he was great in Gandhi and a few other things, but to me, In Search of Bobby Fischer was one of the greatest roles he ever played.
Well, let's not mistake this. Let's not forget his wonderful role in Iron Man 3 as the fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3. He was great in that. But it doesn't, I know that Gandhi's a little better than that, yeah. But I have to put the superhero stuff in.
No. See, Gandhi's actually like in the top 5, but not to me, again, In Search of Bobby Fischer.
He's
that's the deal with that whole thing.
He's
but
a great
Jennifer
actor.
Connelly coming back, yes. But going back to Jennifer Connelly, she was the pre-Phoebe Cates. In my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Before she had the Phoebe Cates in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh yeah.
The great pool scene.
Oh yeah. That scene is melted into my brain like with a soldering iron.
One might call it iconic.
Yes, with the Cars song playing. Yeah. Great stuff, man. I appreciate it. Jennifer Connelly, she's fantastic.
Absolutely.
You too. Bye-bye. Also, Ben Kingsley, if you look at him right, and if Ringo Starr shaves his head, him and Ringo Starr look a lot alike now, too, by the way, from the Beatles.
That's funny.
I'm just saying, you never know. Merry Christmas to everybody, and I want to remind everybody that it is Christmas time.
This is ridiculous.
Merry Christmas from Chewbacca himself. We got to put in a little Star Wars Christmas there. Somebody put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah,
you know?
did.
I mean,
I do like the Harrison Ford little inserts.
Chewie. That's great. Well, you know what? Hate to come up, but then bring us back down again. But this is what a life this guy led. We lost a great icon this week. I got the story here from BusinessInsider.com. Rest in peace, Chuck Yeager. What a life, and you know about this guy. What a life this guy had. There's never been anyone quite like the late U.S. Air Force Brigadier General, retired Chuck Yeager, a truly legendary figure in aviation. He died Tuesday at the age of 97. It says he left a full and unbelievable heroic life. I'm like, that. Even saying that. That's spectacular saying that, but even that's an understatement for him.
Mm-hmm.
When that's an understatement, that means you lived a heck of a life when even that doesn't start to cover it. The achievement's epic enough to warrant having a book called The Right Stuff.
Yeah, and,
buddy, and
maybe a movie.
And a movie, and let's not forget the
series,
the movies back in the early 80s, and the new series is coming out. I thought that it was an underrated movie back in the early 80s. I love The Right Stuff. Talking about what him and
just talking about what everybody that was part of the initial space program and all the test flights and being a test pilot and putting yourself literally in dangerous situations every single time.
We just didn't go to the moon. It had to be planned and tested and worked out and stuff.
Because I saw Andy Griffith do it.
Yeah, we didn't got he's after the trash. Right, salvage one. Yeah. His wife Victoria Yeager tweeted late Tuesday evening that her husband's life was an incredible life well lived, and adding America's greatest pilot and a legacy of strength, adventure, and patriotism, and he will be remembered forever. In a statement on Yeager's passing, NASA said his death is a tremendous loss to our nation. Now, here's just the timeline of his life, and I put them all in here in chronological order. Listen to this. September 12th, 1941, he enlists in the Army Air Corps and undergoes training as a flight mechanic. 1943, appointment as flight officer after receiving his wings. His unit is sent to England in November. March 5th, 1944. At age 21, Yeager is shot down over German-occupied France on his 9th mission. He is wounded and then rescued by the French resistance. After being smuggled into Spain and briefly imprisoned, he makes his way back to England. This is in 44. He's still got a lot to go after that.
I had no idea about that.
1946 to 1956, Air Force Flight School instructor and research test pilot. October of 1947, flies the Glorious Glennis, a Bell X-1 rocket plane named after his wife to break the sound barrier at Mach 1.06 over the Mojave Desert. 1948, he flies an F-80 airplane over the Kanawha River in West Virginia during a boat regatta. Violating Air Force and FAA regulations, he flies under the South Bridge and does a roll and heads on to California. Hey, he's Chuck Yeager. He can do that. Can you imagine the guy telling him, why did you do that? He probably got in a lot of trouble for doing that.
Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
I did a roll under the bridge. December 12th, 1953, he sets a speed record at Mach 2.4. By the way, that's 1,650 miles per hour.
Twice the speed of sound.
The record stands for 3 years after he did it. July 1962 through 1966, Commandant of the Air Force Aerospace Research Pilot School, supervises pilot training for military personnel of the space program. There's where he really starts his space program work. December of 1963, he ejects from a Lockheed Starfighter NF-104 experimental plane and sets a new record as the first pilot to eject in full compression gear under emergency situations. His suit catches fire from the plane's debris during descent, requiring extensive skin grafts for his burns.
I didn't know that.
This guy's made out of iron and steel, I'm telling you. The man of steel is Chuck Yeager.
Can we say this is a time when there used to be men?
August 1969, he was promoted to Brigadier General. 1973, he becomes director of the Air Force Inspection and Safety Center in Norton Air Force Base in California. And March 1st, 1975, he retires from the Air Force and continues to consult as a test pilot. I bet they still want him to come back to help consult. Hey, can you still come back? We know you're retired. December of 75, Congress awards Yeager a special silver medal for bravery and breaking the sound barrier. The White House ceremony takes place a year later with President Ford. October of 1983, The Right Stuff premieres with Sam Shepard playing the role of Yeager, breaking the sound barrier in the movie's opening scene. That's the opening scene, if you remember. 1985 receives the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Ronald Reagan. October 14, 1997, commemorates the 50th anniversary of breaking the sound barrier by doing it again in an F-15.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it again. Come on, let's go.
That's a newer jet.
We can just do it in our regular jets now. Thanks to you, Chuck. October of 2002 flies another glorious Glennis on an F-15 Eagle to break the sound barrier again at Mach 1.45. This is 2002 he did it. April 2010 speaks publicly for the first time about the October 10th, 1948 Charleston South Side Bridge incident. Doing 500 miles per hour, he flew under the bridge, as we told you, because he knew he had enough room to clear it. That's the only reason he did it. If he hadn't, he wouldn't have done it. That sounds reasonable. And October 14th, 2012, on the 65th anniversary of Yeager's flight to break the sound barrier, he rides along in an F-15 over the Mojave Desert in a recreation of his historic flight. Captain David Vincent, based at Nellis Air Force Base, pilots the F-15. So there's a life well lived right there.
He's lived enough for like a dozen people's lives.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We'll never see the likes of Chuck Yeager again. You may have people coming out doing things, but sometimes the big guy upstairs only makes one of certain people.
Yeah.
And he happens to be...
My wife said there's only one of me, but she said that's for a different reason.
Yeah, when we're told that, it's not in a complimentary type thing. It's in a
they're not going to make a movie
type thing. So I talked to you last week, or last episode, or last installment about the Baby Yoda Grogu, the little figure that's out that you can buy for Christmas. There's a lot of toys coming out for Christmas. Here's another present that you might want to give someone in the future once it becomes a fact and you can do it. It's still in the planning stages or the experimental stages. This comes from Fox News. It's called Grow Your Own Human Steaks Meal Kit.
I heard about this.
Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Some people haven't, and I'm going to tell them about it. The saying, you are what you eat, may soon become even more literal. A do-it-yourself meal for growing steaks made from human cells was recently nominated for a Design of the Year by the London-based Design Museum. Named the Ouroboros steak after the circular symbol of a snake eating itself tail first. The hypothetical kit would come with everything one needs to use their own cells to grow miniature human meat steaks.
Isn't that like borderline like cannibalism?
Borderline Soylent Green, kind of, wouldn't it be? This is more meat than green crackers.
You're growing from your own cells, so technically...
Now, before we run out of time, before you go running for your wallet, no, this isn't a product available to buy. It was created by a scientist named Andrew Pelling, artist Orkin Tellen, and Knight, an industrial engineer on commission by the Philadelphia Museum of Art for an exhibit last year. Growing yourself ensures that you and your loved ones always know the origin of your food, how it has been raised, and that its cells are acquired and consensually, a website for the Imagine product states. Now, the project was made as a critique of the lab-grown meat industry, which the designers told Dezeen magazine it's not actually as animal-friendly as one might expect. Lab-grown meat relies on fetal bovine serum for animal cells cultures. Through some companies have claimed to have found alternatives to that. FBS is made from calf fetus blood after pregnant cows are slaughtered. Cattle is slaughtered for what? From Stanley Kubrick?
There is nothing right about this story.
I know. Lab-grown meat has not yet been approved for human consumption, though some products could hit the store shelves in the next few years. Growing a steak like that would take about 3 months using cells taken from your cheek, inside your cheek and your mouth, the magazine reported. For the collection of sample steaks on display in the museum, the team used human cell cultures purchased from the American Tissue Culture Collection and grew them with donated blood that expired and would have otherwise been destroyed. They preserved the final products in resin. So there you go.
Well, thanks for bringing me down.
A gift that you can get someone for Christmas maybe in the future.
I was thinking about lunch, not anymore.
Hey, Alan. So, how would you like to eat yourself? I got you a present here for Christmas. You can grow and eat yourself if you want to. Share it with your friends. Make a burger out of yourself, but don't tell them till it's over. Hey, that was a great burger, Alan. Oh, by the way, let me tell you where it came from.
I grew it from my inside of the cheek.
That's right. It's my own special brand of meat.
You like that? Nice and tender, huh?
It's called Alan. So, what would yours be? Mine would be. You know how they put the ratio on the ground beef in the grocery store? Mine would be 20% lean,
80%
fat. Yeah, that's probably 90-10. Wow. Probably is what mine would be.
Would it be juicy?
Well, they're talking about growing it from cells, so the fat content that wouldn't play a factor. I was
probably
just making
not
a joke. So yeah, don't know if my mind is quite there yet. I know I'm a forward thinker. Sci-fi stories, Blade Runner, all these movies, Space 1999 television show, all these things that you were doing in those productions we're pretty much doing now. We have the Star Trek communicators, our flip phones. Some of the things are kind of like, I don't know, is that necessary?
Is that the precursor to a really weird replicator?
I know we're not really. I guess we're not harming anybody or anyone because we are growing it from our own cell. But it just sounds odd and a little gross.
It seems wrong.
Yeah, it just seems wrong. That's a good way to put it. It's not. Maybe not. It's not ethically wrong or whatever, or disgusting. It's just like
no, it's disgusting.
But I'm thinking about it, and it's just wrong. It just makes me feel a little.
The minute you say there was an artist involved and this is some kind of performance art, I'm like, oh wait a minute. Okay, so this is.
But it's on its way to be accepted. Think of how many things from the 40s and the 50s that we wouldn't have accepted then, but we accept now.
I prefer the TV dinner. Thank you. I'll take that.
They may put it in a TV dinner. Microwavable Allen.
Hey, berries on sale, 2 for $1 this week.
Yeah.
Comes with peas and mashed potatoes.
And would they mass produce it? They would. Oh. And could you charge them for taking your cells?
Why can't they just use cow cells then at least?
But why not just eat beef like we're doing? I guess it's just what's so wrong with regular meat? I've been eating it all my life, and I'm totally fine. Totally fine. Totally
Maybe we
fine.
are
Totally
living
fine.
in the wrong time.
BK on the air next week.
Hi there, time for Timer, your roving reporter. I'm talking to you from inside a fantastic factory, your digestive system. You know what we build here? You, not out of wood or metal, but out of food. You see, you are what you eat, from your head down to your feet. Things like meat and eggs and fish you need to build up muscle tissue. Uh-oh. Hello, appetite control, more protein. We need energy. Playing tennis today, Whoops. All these motors in your body need a lot of fuel to go on, like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, vitamins, and so on. What's left over forms the building blocks you need, indeed, to grow on. Yes, you are what you swallow, so that next time you feel hollow, don't just fill your face with any old kind of treat. This goes for every kid or 6-foot athlete. All you really are is what you eat.